the LPGA podcast listeners? Thank you so much for tuning in. It has been 2 weeks since we caught up, and that is the longest we are ever going to have to go. So don't worry. It's usually every other week, but this last time we had to take 2 weeks off. But we are back and we have a lot to talk about. I'm Hope Arnett, host and reporter for the LPGA Tour, and I am alongside, as always, my podcast host, Emma Talley. Emma, thank you as always for joining me. We have a lot to catch up on because the last episode that aired was during the Honda LPGA Thailand. It came out on Thursday. We had Yulimi No on, but there's been 3 tournaments since then. The whole Asia swing is over. So why don't we just dive right in? You down for that?
I'm down for that. It was fun to watch the Asia tournaments in bed at night, cozied up.
Yeah.
I loved it.
A little bit different for you.
Yeah.
Being able to cuddle up and watch. It's honestly the best. Like, I love watching some night golf.
Yeah, it was great. Like, I loved falling asleep. I'm like, there's my friends. Have fun in the heat. So it was fun. It was really fun to watch. I actually wish there was more women's golf on at nighttime just because it was like the perfect time. So yeah, it's a big stint in Asia, but really fun to watch, different kind of golf. And we saw a lot of really good golfing.
Yes, we did. And speaking of good golf, I think we should just kick it off with the very first tournament that I already mentioned, the Honda LPGA Thailand. And you know what? We can't deny it anymore, Emma. There is a thing called a podcast bump because people we have on go on to play well or win. And that is exactly what Angel Yin did. So if there's any players listening to this, come on, y'all. Get on the podcast.
It happens every time. Like, we've had a lot of people on, and then 2 or 3 weeks later they win. And this one wasn't even a week. So, it was really cool to see Angel win the tournament. She only won by 1. She birdied the last hole. And I think the most impressive thing for me is she finished 28 under, shooting 67, 64, and then backed it up again with another 65, 28 under par, no bogeys on the weekend. It was really impressive. And she kind of told us a lot about her game that on the podcast a couple weeks ago. And whatever she was off her little vacations, it worked because she came out strong. And I think it was really cool too. Like, the leaderboard, it just shows how strong the LPGA is right now and what bright future we have coming forward in the younger generation of kids, because there were several people that are new to the tour or really young players that backed her up. So it was really cool to watch.
Yeah, speaking of young players, I mean, Aki Iwai, who was a sponsor invite, by the way, which I think that's one of the craziest storylines of the whole week. Like, she wasn't even originally going to be in the field, but she was a sponsor invite. Imagine shooting a final round 61 and not winning, because that is what she did. Absolute insanity. It
was so crazy. And I think she felt probably that as well out there. I mean, it's hard to shoot 61, but out there, if you've ever played that golf course, that's low. That's really low. They did have they had one reachable par 4, a couple of reachable par 5s, but 61, and she made Angel.
She almost did it.
She made a run for it, that's for sure. And like I said, Angel had a birdie the last hole. So very cool. And we've had a couple of those in the last couple of years, sponsor invites or Monday qualifiers that end up playing really well.
I love that.
And it's really cool to see.
I think, too, it's just like, what do I have to lose? Like, I got in the tournament. I might as well just give it my all. Yeah. So that's exactly what she did.
Exactly. Cool. Well, I'm sure we'll see her name again very soon.
Oh, yeah. I think she's going to be a problem moving forward for other players in the field. Okay, so after Thailand, the LPGA Tour flew over to Singapore, which that is one of my favorite tournaments all year. I just absolutely love Singapore. I don't know how you feel about that, but I just think it's such a fun one.
It is so beautiful. It's not really like all the other Asian countries that we go to. It's very fancy, very bougie. The food, there's so many different types of food there. It's just like a great week. So yeah, I agree. I love going to Singapore. You often see some of the players going shopping, which is always a fun little treat. So yeah, it's a great tournament. It's a great place to go travel. And you feel like what's the movie called? I just went Crazy Rich Asians. Like you totally feel like that. So Shout out Crazy Rich Asians. But you actually
That
got
is
to
a great
see all
movie.
the stops. We have a couple of pro-am parties that week, and they're fabulous.
Yeah, they always are. They know how to put on a good party, that's for sure.
That
Also,
is for
Crazy Rich
sure.
Asians is one of the best airplane
Oh,
movies to watch. Like,
agreed.
I always put that movie on for some reason. I don't know what it is, but it's just so good.
It's like they have great music, great
Great
scenery,
music.
and it's like a
Yep.
little mix of funny too. So it's just it's a great movie. If you haven't seen it,
Okay,
go watch it.
glad we can agree on that. Not us also reviewing movies now. No, that's a great movie, but we actually this honestly, this week was a movie. The whole week in Singapore was a movie. I know I mentioned before the tournament started in our last podcast episode that all of these events always end in like dramatic fashion or just end up being crazy, which I think is so much fun to watch. But of course, it was Lydia Ko that got the job done. And I mean, she's a model now. Right before that, she was on the cover of Korea Vogue, which is sick. And those pictures were incredible. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out because it was awesome. But she said at the beginning of the week, she was like, I don't usually play how I want to play here at the HSBC Women's World Championship. She was like, I want to do better. So she was like, I guess now's the week to start. And well, that's exactly what she did because she literally went on and won. She popped off in the final round and ended up winning by 4 strokes. So yeah, Lydia just doing Lydia things. But what do you take away from just the way she played and the way she literally blew it out of the water and just stomped on everybody else?
Yeah, I actually took a look at her stats for the week, and I mean, she was 75% in scrambling, which is not a shock. If you ask me any player really on tour who is the best
Yeah.
scrambler, they would say Lydia Ko. I actually think you guys did you did that one time. The media asked us like who would be the best player, and she was like everyone's pick. So that
Everyone picked
wasn't
Lydia.
surprising for me. But then as you go down the field ranking, she was tied for first in sand saves. She was tied for second in putts per green in regulation. She was tied for third in bogeys or worse. She only had 6 bogeys the whole week, and she was tied for third in 1 putt. So when you have all your rankings in the top 3,
You're going to
compared to
do
the
pretty
field, you're
well.
going to do pretty well. And I know when Lydia's playing like Lydia does, when she's playing that well, she just knows how to get it done. It may not be the prettiest some weeks. Some weeks it is beautiful, but some weeks it's really not. But she's such a good scrambler. She knows how to play golf. I talk about that a lot with even like junior players, amateur players. There's something about knowing how to score even when you don't have your A game. And Lydia
Yeah.
Ko is one of those people that can go out and win a golf tournament without playing her best golf. And I think that's why she's been so dominant and like just so good in the years, the last however many years, 10 years? Has she been on tour for 10 years yet? I don't know.
I think, yeah, I think 10 or maybe even one more. I don't know. She's been on tour for a while, which is crazy because she's like 28, I think.
She's so young.
So,
But I know that you did some research on how she's almost beating Annika for the most money ever on tour, which is
yeah.
crazy.
I know, because when you think about Annika, you think of like the GOAT, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's kind of crazy to witness someone like Lydia doing what she's doing right now, and she's still on tour. She's in the LPGA Hall of Fame. And now, like you said, she has moved into second in the all career like money list. So with her winner's check of 360,000, she passed Kari Webb. She's now in second with, hold on, this is a big number, okay, guys. I don't say these kind of numbers because I don't know the I don't
Not
have
many
this kind of
people
money.
do.
Yeah. $20,595,105 she has earned in her LPGA tour career. So
Not too
she's within
shabby.
2 million of passing Annika. And she said she's not really wanting to stop anytime soon. She wants to get the career Grand Slam. So
Yeah.
she could easily do that. So it's
Yeah.
pretty insane.
And I think she will pass Annika. That's my prediction. I think she'll probably do it, if not this year, next year, but I wouldn't be surprised if she does it this year. I just feel like she's got a little bit of an edge on her this year that
Yeah.
I'm kind of enjoying watching.
Yeah.
Because Lydia's like one of the nicest humans in the world, but when she's on the golf course, she's still super nice,
Like,
but
get away. But
yeah,
like she's dialed.
she's dialed. So it was really cool to see that, and I think everyone's always happy for Lydia. There's not many people you root for, but Lydia Ko is one of those people. So
She's one of them.
I think everyone would be pretty pumped if she was the number one all-time money winners on the LPGA. And I think that says something too for just how the LPGA is growing. The money, that's probably going to continue to change because we are making our money bigger purses, and the tour's growing. So really cool to see.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of money, I actually want to talk a little bit about, before we dive into the Blue Bay LPGA, which was the last tournament in Asia, I want to talk about Jutanugarn, who has been just absolutely popping off at every single tournament she's been playing. She has been a threat to every single champion. I'm honestly surprised she didn't win one of them, but with her really good finishes in Asia, the 22-year-old, by the way, in case you forgot how old she was, became the fastest player to reach $10 million in career earnings in the history of the LPGA Tour. So
not
another
shocking.
one that not shocking. You
Not
know, it's
shocking.
funny, like we talk about these crazy stats, but like it's not a surprise, honestly, because they've just been playing so well, you know? So
my prediction at the beginning of the year, I was telling my husband, I think she'll be number one at the end of the season. That's my pick for the year. So write it down, people.
Write it down. Honestly, that's a good prediction, though. I could see that happening.
Yeah,
so.
she was hurt some last year, and she's healthy again. She's just really good, and she's had the same caddy, which they joke that he's the richest man in Thailand. So
yeah, he honestly might be.
And he's a great dude too. So yeah, I'm really excited for her and what she does for her team, and she talks about that a lot in her press conferences. So she gives a lot of credit to her team, the team around her, her caddy, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, no, I love that. Okay, now we have to go on to the last event, which was the Blue Bay LPGA in China. So much fun to watch. It was obviously a bigger field than the other two events. And one thing I really liked about watching it is that it seemed like a lot of, you were talking about like up and comers, like fresh talent. It seemed like a lot of newer names were at the top of the leaderboard, which I thought was really interesting. And it just shows that there's a new wave of players coming through the LPGA. Yeah. And it was Rio Takeda that won. And she is also one of those new players. She's from Japan, and she actually won last year the Toto Japan Classic, but she didn't accept immediate membership. So technically, this was her like Rolex first time win. So, I mean, once again, another girl that is going to be a problem because she is so good and she is so steady. But yeah, she's a star in the making. She's only 21.
And she won in a playoff last year, which just shows like how gritty she is. But she bombs it. Like if you talk to any player on tour, that's what they're saying about her. She just hits it so far. And I just want to point out, she's only had 6 starts, including the one last year. And she's won 2 of them. So she's won a third of her events that she's played, which is just crazy.
No big deal.
And only played 6 events. She won by 6 strokes, which is also crazy because, I mean, the person that she beat, I would say, yes, she had a rough year last year, but like probably one of the best players on tour, Minjee Lee.
Yeah.
I also want to shout out Minjee Lee because she had a rough year for Minjee Lee. But it was her best finish since 2023. She finished second by herself. And kind of what you said, I like to point out the younger players. Cassie Porter, she graduated from the Epson Tour last year. Such a great girl. And she finished her solo 4th, which is like such a good boost of confidence, both for her and Rio. When you have those kind of finishes as a rookie, they're both technically rookies. That just puts you in a different category for the rest of the year. It kind of just gives you that boost that you need. But yes, Rio is going to be someone that we are going to be watching for a very long time. She is so good, and she's definitely one of those people that I could see giving Gino and all those kind of girls a run for their money.
For sure. Well, what a few weeks in Asia. I mean, I love those events, but now we are coming back stateside. But before we do that, probably what everyone has been waiting for. They're like, okay, where's the player? Let's get the interview going. But we wanted to just update everyone on what's been going on in Asia. But we have a very, very special guest this week, and we are so excited to catch up with her. She, to me, is like one of the best personalities on tour. She's so much fun. I love being around her, and I think everyone else will really enjoy this interview. So we have Jenny Shin on. So let's bring Jenny into the podcast. All right, everybody, welcome Jenny Shin into the Inside the LPGA podcast. Jenny, welcome back to stateside. You just came back from Asia, right? Like literally 2 days ago. How are you feeling? Thank you for joining us, even though we know you're probably very jet lagged right now.
No, this is great. I have been waking up pretty early, but no, it's so good to be home. Got to Vegas today, and as soon as we got here, we were like, oh, it's so nice to have like my own car and probably sleeping in my own bed tonight. So, yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
Is the bed your favorite thing? Or like for me, even the shower, even a home cooked meal, like what's your thing?
Definitely having my own kitchen, knowing exactly where everything is.
That is the best.
Yeah, just having the freedom to like get my own car and I can go to the gym. The gym is probably the number one. Gym and the kitchen, because I've got my coffee machine in the kitchen.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's a must.
I feel like it's so nice, like coming home and just knowing where everything is just in general. You don't have to like wonder or like live out of a suitcase. So welcome home. I'm glad you were able to make it back. But obviously coming off of Asia, I know it maybe didn't go exactly as you had planned, but I know you did get to go to Korea. So how nice was that? Just being able to be somewhere that's probably so obviously like familiar to you and like a second home.
It was cold. We arrived and the first 2 days it snowed. And I was like, whoa, I haven't seen snow in like 3 years. This is pretty cool.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know that it was that cold.
Yeah, I mean, either. I was like, first week of March, why would it be snowing? But
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I got pretty, I was just like, oh no, I didn't pack for this because I packed for Thailand and Singapore. And I was like,
yeah, the complete opposite.
I'm freezing. Yeah. So, I was in Korea for a few days. I can't say I enjoyed it as much because I was sick.
Yeah.
I was just so sick. And I was like, it's snowing. It doesn't help. I couldn't go outside because it was too cold. And the whole time I was just like, I can't wait to go back to the West Coast, enjoy the sun.
Yeah. Did you have any yummy food at least?
Yes. Usually after 2 weeks in Asia and then I go to Korea, I always get like an avocado toast, something Western, because I was like, oh, I just had so much noodles and soups in Thailand and Singapore that I just want some Western food. But then when I was in Korea, I was like, I'm gonna go all out. So almost 2 to 3 meals a day was like full on Korean, the things that I can't get in America. So that was, it was great. Even before taking off. Yeah. Even before taking off, I just went full Korean. So it's delicious.
Fair enough. You've been doing a lot of traveling. I mean, not saying that this is why you're sick, but you've been doing a lot of traveling in the off season. And obviously you've been playing the Asia tournaments. You played in the Aussie Open, then you came all the way back, and then you went back to New Zealand, Australia, and then you came back, right? And then you went to Asia. So you've been a busy, busy girl. Tell us about the tournaments. Tell us about your experience in Australia and New Zealand. Obviously I think we kind of were there at the same time, but how much fun did you have this off season? Did you get any rest at all? And yeah, tell us about your experience.
Yeah, I did a lot of traveling. I think I've already hit my mileage requirement this year because I've flown international so many times. But the week like immediately after CME was the Aussie Open. So when all of us got there, it was Wednesday afternoon. So we had to tee it up the very next day. That was hectic. And then immediately after, I went to New Zealand for about 10 days. And that was yeah, it was stunning. Went to um, the South Island and then went up to the north. Um, but it was more of a golf trip than anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't plan that, obviously.
Wasn't
Um,
your choice.
it wasn't, yeah. As soon as we decided New Zealand, I got a text message with a list of golf courses that Zoot wanted to play. So I was just like, cool.
Yeah.
Yep,
Guess we're
okay.
playing golf.
So I contacted Lydia Ko. Who else would be, it was the best contact ever. So she hooked me up to,
Literally.
yeah, she hooked me up to nearly all the golf courses that we wanted to play in the given time. And yeah, that was one of the most, yeah, better vacations we've had. Like the Airbnbs that we chose were really sick.
Mm-hmm.
Weather was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I flew back to America for about 2 weeks, and then flew back to Australia, played the Vic Open, and then headed over to Thailand. So
Oh
I
my
did get some
goodness.
rest. But yeah, Melbourne's summer wasn't as great as I expected this year.
Uh-huh.
It was pretty windy. I
Mm,
felt like I was in,
Yeah, it
yeah,
does
I
get
felt like I was
windy.
in Texas.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't
Texas
know
is
if I
so
like this
windy.
wind very much.
Don't
So,
know if I'm about this.
but it was great being in Melbourne. It feels like, yeah, my second home kind of,
Yeah.
because I've made so many friends and like families over the years that it's the same people that I see, and it's like it really feels like home because I
Mm-hmm.
go back to Australia and then I meet the people that I've been expecting to see throughout
Right.
the
Oh.
year. Yeah, keeping in touch. So it felt too short.
Yeah.
Can't believe I'm in March already.
Yeah. The years go by
Crazy.
fast. When you're on
It's
tour,
going by so
it goes
fast.
by really fast. One more question about New Zealand, Australia. Are you in agreement that they have the best coffee?
Yes.
Oh, so good. That's what
Yes.
I miss every time. I'm like, I can't wait to go to a cafe and get breakfast and a coffee. Like that's something I miss every time we come back to America. I'm like, the cafes, they're so good.
Yeah. America just doesn't do very well in cafes.
It's
Um,
not the thing.
it's not, yeah, breakfast ain't a thing here. It's like, I mean, America does pancakes and waffles, but
Yeah,
besides that, it's,
that's about it.
yeah, hit or miss.
I know, I've heard such great things about the coffee over there. I've never been to New Zealand or Australia, but me and Emma have been talking so much about it. And I'm like, I think I need to go. I think I need to experience it and have the coffee and just do all of the things because I think I would love it and maybe never come back. So maybe you would never see me again. But
Actually, hope I don't, and Emma, I don't know if you agree with this, but because I was born, not born, but I was raised in America,
mhm.
there is something about this country where I don't see myself living full time in Australia or New Zealand. Like, America is home. And if you were
Yeah,
brought up here, and we don't necessarily have a culture, like I'm still pretty Korean and all that, but
right.
I'm still very much American. So like there is something about being, an
Oh,
American raised. There's something about America that other countries don't have.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah, our healthcare sucks, but like
Yeah. We only have pancakes and waffles, whatever, but
But I know, but there is something about here, and
yeah.
I don't think I can live anywhere else in the world.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, that's pretty cool though. I'm so confused. I'm always like, where should I live next? Should we go to London? Should we go to New Zealand? Like, where should we live?
Mm,
But I agree, like home is home and your family's here and there's so many opportunities here. So it is hard to think about living somewhere else in the world one day. And it's so far away. Like it's just so far away over there. But yeah, it's a beautiful country. It's great to visit. And like you said, like friends and family that live afar, like it's so fun to go see them and eat the yummy
Mm,
food and then come back home.
Yeah.
yeah,
To where things are comfortable.
yeah.
Can't lie. Well, speaking about, just we were just talking about how the year is going by so fast already. Jenny, you're a veteran on this tour. Your rookie year was 2011, which is crazy. But what do you think you've learned about yourself in that time? I mean, I know that's like such a broad question, but just what's like the biggest difference you've noticed in yourself from maybe when you first came out here to now?
Uh, yeah, I mean, the only biggest difference would be I'm not a complete child anymore.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fair.
I was 18 when I first, did my first year on tour, and I used to get yelled at by other veterans for doing the dumbest things. I'll never forget, it was in Mobile, Alabama, I think, and I got paired up with Grace Park, um, and we got a warning, and I don't know how to play faster. So then I started walking like while Grace Park was teeing it up on the tee. And I remember she looked at me and like, "What are you doing? You're so dumb." And I was like, "But we got a
Like,
warning."
like I thought I was supposed to play faster.
I know, and I just remember getting yelled at constantly, like just saying the wrong things, doing the wrong things. Um, I think also like I'm much more self-aware, and yeah, that would be. I mean, I don't know what topic to choose, but that would be the
Right.
biggest
Yeah.
difference. Yeah.
On Twitter, you've recently said that you always carry around one notebook and one journal, one to write ideas and one to write down your feelings. We would love to know more about that. And like, is that for golf purposes? Is that a personal flavor touch? I write in a journal every night. Mine's very spiritual, but yeah, tell us more about your journaling and your notebooks.
Yeah, yeah, I love writing. It really, it's like condensing the thoughts, and it's a cluster and it's chaotic and it's messy. But there is something about writing than just typing it in your phone, because
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
for
almost
sure.
like I can almost like type in the phone as quickly as my thoughts process, but writing I can't. So it
Yeah.
really slows me down.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I started doing that, and then I would have some golf thoughts, like swing thoughts, things I learned that I wanted to separate from my journal because my journal is like so personal, and it's not too much golf related. So I got a really thin notebook just for like golf notes.
Yeah.
And those are much easier to look back on. Like journals are so cringy to like read
Oh
back.
my God. I hate reading
I,
back in my journal.
yeah. Like I would never. I would never. And then, yeah, and I always get like a new journal every time where I feel like, a chapter in my life has kind of ended and I have a new chapter going in.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, right now my new journal is super thick because I had this idea that this current chapter is going to be a lot longer than my previous one.
Oh, fun. Are we
I
gonna get
like
a
that.
Jenny Shin book one day on the Barnes and Noble shelf?
Um, that would be really embarrassing.
No.
I think if social media wasn't a thing, I would have definitely thought about it.
Yeah.
But I think I would love to do like a vlog more than an actual book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, our generation onwards, like, no, I mean, I can barely find friends that reads books anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's like Kindle. Well, you would be great for a vlog. I think that you should. I know you've been doing a little bit of that, but I think, our tour, we get asked so many questions on how the travel life is and just like our day to day. And I think that a lot of people would be very interested in that. And I regret not doing it when I was playing on tour because I think it would definitely show the world like what we go through on a day to day basis. Even you getting sick, like the weeks that you don't feel as good and you still have to go out and shoot a number and all the places we get to travel to. There's just so much. There's so much that goes on tour. And then we also are people. Like we have lives and we have boyfriends and we have things going on. And it's just like we're normal people at the end of the day, but we're really good at golf.
yeah. When I was sick in Singapore, I was like, this is what I need to film. This is what I need to vlog. But I felt like such a loser trying to film myself being sick because do you guys ever see those reels on Instagram where the girls are crying into the camera?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, so you're really sad, but you're like, hold on, let
I'm
me
gonna
film
record
this.
this.
So like, and I was, my fever was peaking and my body aches were just like, and I was like, oh, I'm so sick. And I was like, wait, maybe I should film this. And I was like, no, I don't want to be that girl. And I was like, I don't want to be that girl. And then, I ended up not doing anything. And then I wanted to like film myself talk, but I was coughing so much. And I was just like, forget it. So I might
next time.
Yeah, so I did take a few photos, and I was like, I'll just collaborate this and just do a voiceover, and it's as fun as it sounds, Emma, like it's very time consuming,
Very time consuming.
and it kind of takes over your thought processes. Like before, if it was like, today I'm gonna do this, 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 and I'm gonna focus on this, and this is how I'm gonna be productive throughout the day. Now that I'm trying to film the content, I'm just like, I'm gonna do this, and then should I film that? Like, I get sidetracked quite easily.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, man, am I living for me or am I living for the content? Like, it's very difficult to tell myself, okay, I need to prioritize this. But I wish I can film this because I know this is a very like important aspect of the day and like how this will carry on for the tournament. But so like it's a constant. I feel like I have ADHD now because like I
You're
want to
always
focus on a
thinking
task.
like, I feel like I should record. Like you want to capture it, you want people to see it, but you're also like, wait, I have my own like thoughts and I have my own things I need to do. Like I don't need to worry about them, but then you do want to worry about them too because you're like also trying to be an entertainer. So it's really hard to find that in between.
And the editing. I mean, we just from like the Instagram of LPGA, like me doing some takeovers last year, the editing process is so difficult and it's very time consuming. And even like matching up a voiceover with the right, it's hard. It's really hard to edit. And I'm not a professional at it. So I know like if you don't have a ton of practice, it's hard.
Yeah. I feel like I'm pretty good at it now. Like it's not that difficult. It's more the shooting that's more of a like in Singapore 100%. I was filming myself in the gym, not for social media, but for my trainer back home. And one of the player was like, "Oh, is that a social content?" And I was like, "No."
Actually, no, it's not.
It's for my trainer, but yes, it does look like that, doesn't it?
And it should be.
Yeah.
It could be a social piece too.
It could be.
Yeah.
Double down.
It could be. There is a lot of like, I do feel very insecure, like having a camera propped up because like if I'm at the gym working out and I see a girl filming herself more than like actually working out, like I can't help but judge her. I'm just like,
you're not
what
even
are you
working
doing?
out.
Yeah, like what are you doing? But then she is working out because she's really fit. And I just like, how can I judge them and do the same thing? Like I don't want to be a hypocrite either. So it's a fine line between
Yeah.
being an obscene person and just trying to be an informative person. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard.
Yeah.
I totally get that because I've been trying to like film more vlogs and like just do all sorts of things like just with the travel and stuff. But I'm like filming myself like going through the airport and I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, people are looking at me. I'm like, this is so embarrassing. But like, really, when I see people in an airport, I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't even look twice at them. I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So, but it's funny. But I was just gonna ask too, like speaking of like the journals and all of that stuff, and I mean, obviously you're trying to grow your social brand, and you said this chapter might be a little bit bigger, but do you have any goals for this year? Like whether it's golf related or not, like do you have anything written down in your journal that you hope to achieve or accomplish this year or in this next chapter?
Yeah, there's a lot, and I'm not sure if I'm vulnerable enough to talk about the golf stuff
That's
yet.
That's
fair.
okay.
Yeah.
But if it was non-golf related, my goal is to travel to Europe in between the weeks between like Evian and British.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I've never been to Spain, so
Same.
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely in the goals. But yeah, golf wise, it's difficult because winning is so cliche, and um, yeah, I really want to just focus on the process and not be so obsessed with results because
Yeah.
I feel like I played fairly well in the last 2 years, and I want to keep it up and be better if anything. Um, but it's really hard not to get wrapped up in results. Like in Thailand, oh man, I was so upset. I was first off on the 10th tee twice,
Yeah.
and I was like,
That's like the
why am I
biggest
on the
goal,
10th
right?
tee? Yeah, like
It's like,
I
oh, we're
don't
on
want to
the
tee up on
other
the 10th
side.
tee. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like it was really hard to kind of get myself out of that hole of like, am I not good enough? And why am I not good enough? Like, why am I here?
Yeah.
Um, it's and like last year I wasn't. It's really difficult to not compare myself.
Yeah.
So this year I'm focusing on it's tricky. I'm trying really hard to be cautious of my thoughts because it's easy to be like, I suck. It's not good enough.
Yeah.
And it's a good motivator for a very short period of time, but it becomes very taxing after weeks and months of telling myself that, you're not good enough. And then you start really believing that you're not good enough, and the results just doesn't come, even though your skills and everything is good enough. So I'm trying to really watch my thoughts and manifest saying the right things to myself, which is surprisingly difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if it means anything to you, I think you've like played so well the last couple of years. I mean,
I know it's crazy to hear that come from you.
yeah, I mean, you've played so well, and a tournament that sticks out to me for you, I'm sure and it may not be like this because I feel like a lot of times, I know Tiger Woods at one point said like, you start practicing well, then you start doing the practice rounds really well, and then you play in the tournament. But from an outsider's perspective, I remember Baltusrol, like that was so fun to see you play so well. And I feel like ever since then, your game has just like been on a new level. You've played so well last year. I don't know if, I mean, you've been on tour for a while, so I don't know if last year you would consider it to be one of your best years, but like from an outsider's perspective, it was. Too many times people see the results instead of like everything that it took to get to there. What do you think kind of forced all of this to happen? Because I do feel like the last year and a half or so, it's like a dominant Jenny Shin has arrived. And I mean, you've been like that your whole career, but I do feel like you're on a new level at this moment.
Thank you, first of all, for acknowledging that. It really is, like last year was my best ever. And it comes from a place, I think, it started after COVID for sure. My mindset has changed completely. If I'm being honest, like being on tour for 15 years, the first 8 years, I wasn't focused on winning. Like that wasn't my goal. And a lot of people are quite shocked when they watch me play. And I've had a lot of the caddies say like, how do you only have one win? Like your skill set is really, really sharp. And I always said, I don't know, because I didn't know. Like I wasn't sure why I didn't win enough, and most of it was because I never focused on winning and I never really cared about winning. I never played for money. I never played for fame. I just played because I just hate losing. Like I'm so competitive. I'm so competitive that I love competing. And had this conversation with my mom yesterday, and she was like, "Do you still like your job?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Why? It's so stressful." And I said, "I love that stress. Like,
You thrive under that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love grinding. Not because I love the actual process of the grind, but the fact that it's not an instant feedback, but it is pretty instant. Like, not too many jobs in the world where you perform well that week and it shows at the end of the week, So
Yeah.
it's a very satisfying job. And I just love competing. A lot of the girls on tour, like a lot of the friends on tour, I'm pretty sure they'll say the same, but I love beating them. Like I do. I love having dinner with you and then I want to beat you tomorrow. Like that's just the person that I am. And,
Yeah.
and in the past few years, I had a really good team around me saying like, you need to focus on winning. Like you need to be able to get in contention. And I was like, okay, so how do I do that? So I really kind of drove myself away from like just winning and losing, and it became more of like a process and honing in on a certain skill to better different things in my golf game. And like you said, Baltusrol was really a good week where a lot of elements outside of the course kind of came together. I had a very similar routine, whether it's my diet or it's my health regime or my practice. I focus on the same things, and I was repetitive and trying to excel in that repetition rather than just wanting instant gratification of something. So I think in that sense, I matured a lot as a player, where now I'm thinking more than just playing.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I love that.
There's definitely downsides. I now overthink and overanalyze. Whereas before I was like, oh, golf ball, oh, hole, I hit.
Hit the golf ball.
It was like
Yeah.
Wii golf. But now I'm like, now I got my TrackMan, I've got my quad, I got my 2 iPads, I'm thinking about my swing, I'm thinking about my club, I'm thinking about everything. And I'm like, where am I actually going with this? There are times where I have to just really pace myself, like what's important? Like I still need to play golf.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's what it takes. I mean, I think that sometimes the audience they want to know, like, what does it take to be a professional golfer? And you're totally right. One thing that I got from that, and maybe it was not as big of, it's something that I think is very true that a lot of people don't understand, is it's not just the golf, it's everything. It's doing everything with a purpose. And a lot of amateurs, especially like junior golfers, they don't realize like everything's got to be for this bigger, like, I want to win and this is how I'm going to get there. And I've got to do everything, including your diet, including your routine. Everything's got to be the same. And, I don't want to say sacrifice, because I don't know if that's the right word, but it's a sacrifice, but we don't see it as a sacrifice because we want it so bad. But you do have to sacrifice eating and sleeping and you got to like make sure you conserve your energy and you've got to make sure that you're eating properly, all the things. So I definitely think that's very cool. And thanks for sharing all of that. That was great.
Thank you. But you're 100% right. It's a sacrifice. It really is. People don't realize like it's a really lonely sport, and you have to enjoy being alone. And that's a sacrifice that a lot of the players struggle to make. Like I think when people ask me what is the biggest difference between certain players, it's like they don't like this life.
Yeah.
It's a tough life. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I can't imagine like going to dinner with someone and the next day like maybe being in the same group. So I don't know how y'all do it, but I commend you guys. So I always played team sports growing up, so it's a little different. Me and Emma were literally just talking about this before we all like hopped on, but not to like completely pivot here, but like I have to ask about this, Jenny. You are like so good at accents. Like, did they just like come out? Because like sometimes you sound more Australian, and I think that's part of like just living in like yeah, you were raised here, but you also used to live in Korea, and then also you're around a lot of Australians. So like, how does that?
She can
are you
do
just
mine
good at
pretty good
accents?
too.
Oh my God! Wait, can we hear it? Can you do a little Emma impersonation for us?
I've heard her do mine.
I don't really want to do Emma's. I don't want to offend Emma because
you could never offend me, Jenny Shin.
you could never offend me, Jenny Shin. I don't know. I can't.
I put you on the spot. That was good though.
Yeah. It comes very naturally. I don't know why. I'm just really good at adapting.
Yeah.
Definitely go to Australia and I speak like, yeah.
Just thinking about it.
Yeah, so sometimes like on the drive over from LA today, we listened to this podcast called The Rest is History. It's two British guys speaking. And when I was listening, even my internal thoughts were in British.
Really?
Because I'm listening to it for
Wait, that's
2 hours.
so funny.
That's wild.
Yeah, so
she just did it.
Right
I
now,
just heard it.
I can. Right now, I can speak in an Aussie accent because you talked about Australia. But
no, that's literally so good. That's ridiculous.
If I stopped this phone call and I spoke to Zoot, I'd be speaking in an Aussie accent.
That's so
and then if I listen to the British podcast, I'd be like, yeah, I think I can switch on and off it, but it's just very it's more like reactive. I hear it and I just and I think I learned that.
And she started talking country, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's doing it, and I loved it.
It's definitely not intentional. It just comes and goes depending on who I speak to, and I think sometimes I might be offending them because they're like, are they?
Oh no,
are they
right?
Yeah.
Like you mimicking me right now, or what's going on? Yeah.
Like, no, I swear, I'm not talking.
I feel like too, like our tour has so many accents on tour. We do hear like people don't realize how global our tour actually is, especially with the caddies and the physios. And I mean, there's like lots more people other than just the golfers. So you're hearing like so many accents every single day. So, I mean, I kind of understand, even me, like, my people when I come back, I'm in my hometown right now, and they think that I don't sound, no, they don't think I sound as Southern, because I think just being on tour for so long, like, it's not as much as it used to, or maybe Patrick, like, his Kiwi accent, some words I say a little different than I used to, so, I mean, I totally get it. When you're around other people and other accents, it's like, you start saying and doing the things they do. It's weird.
Oh my God.
Emma's accent definitely neutralized much more than like during the junior years.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I've listened back on interviews of you, Emma. I love it though.
I remember like you speaking to your dad. I was like, I don't really understand what they're saying.
Like they might be speaking another language. I
Yeah.
honestly don't know.
Hilarious.
Literally, yeah.
They're speaking Kentucky.
Okay, one more fun
Okay,
question for me.
yeah, go ahead.
If you weren't a golfer, what would you want to be? I have a good one. I think I know what you'd want to be, but I want to hear what you want to be first.
Jenny's like, I don't even know, so I don't know what you're thinking.
Um, when I was younger, I wanted to be a choreographer.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. You can
I was gonna
dance.
say author.
Loved dancing.
Yes, you still do.
No.
In your TikTok phase during COVID, I watched those every day. Like it was religion. I was like so
Yeah.
excited to see what
Definitely not
came
an
up.
author though. Definitely not an author.
I think you could be.
Um, Now, if I were to quit golf now, I would love to build homes.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Like physically do the labor.
Oh,
Not just plan
fun.
it. You want to get out there, get your hands dirty.
Yeah. I love I love renovating my home and
You
learning
did
new
a
stuff
garden
on
last year,
YouTube.
didn't you?
Yeah, I did some gardening in LA because I was bored, but um I want to turn my garage into a workshop and like renovate my entire house.
Fun.
Cool.
You
That's
go,
what you need a
girl.
vlog. Vlog everything, but that too. That would be really cool to watch. I would tune
I
into
don't have
every
the
single
time.
one.
I
You're
don't
like,
have the time.
we talked about this, Hope. We can't vlog everything. We have one more question, and it is our wonderful sponsored question. Because in golf, when bad shots happen, there's the Mulligan ball. And when fire, water, or other damage happens, there is Serve Pro. Emma, take it away.
They know how to make it like it never even happened, and that's where our question to you comes in. One mulligan in life or in golf, what would you be taking it for?
2012 Singapore last shot on the 18th hole.
Oh, she
Yes.
knows. Let's go.
Tell us about it. Really, like you don't not fast, but tell us about it.
I was leading by two, and on the 18th hole, as we were stepping onto the tee box, they called for weather.
Oh my God.
And I think I was 18 or 19. I went into the clubhouse where it was freezing for 2 hours and came back out, chunked my driver because I didn't even warm up. It was just me and Angela Stanford, I think. So they gave us an option, like you're the only group on the golf course. You can either warm up or you can just go. And Angela's a veteran. She was warming up in the locker room. She was ready to go. And I didn't warm up. I didn't stretch. I didn't do anything. And I was just like, oh, I'm young. I'll be fine. Got to the tee, was doing my practice swings, and my body was just so stiff. I chunked my ball in the water, duck hooked it in the water, double bogey, and got in a playoff with three other players, Angela Stanford, Nayan Choi, and Shen Fang.
What a group, first of
I
all.
know, at the
What a
time, like
group.
three of the best players at the
Yeah.
time. And I was pretty good friends with Nayan, and I remember her looking at me like, why would you pull me into the playoff? Why couldn't you just bogey and like win? And I was like, what the hell? Like, I didn't want to do this.
You're like, you think I want to be here?
Yeah, so we played 4 holes. It came down to me and Angela anyway, because Shen and Nayan both bogeyed. We went to 4 holes and I lost. And yeah, I'll never forget. I remember Christy McPherson and Angela Stanford coming up to me a few weeks after in a golf tournament. They said, kid, you learn from your mistakes, but don't let anybody peer pressure you into not warming up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
that's
they did.
crazy. Yeah.
Angela's like, I'm ready. Are you ready to go? And I was like, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
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 That's a
Biggest.
good one. I mean, that sucks, but I mean, I guess that was a big lesson you learned.
Yeah, that sucked. But I think I would have been happy not learning that mistake.
Yeah,
Could have gone
totally.
without that one, without
Yeah.
that lesson.
Give her a mulligan.
Yeah, take me back 14 years.
Make me seriously, little time machine.
That's a long
Well,
time ago,
Jenny,
isn't it?
that is a very long time ago. What year
It's
would that
pretty
have been?
crazy.
2012, so yeah. This is my 15th year on tour. I can't believe
Wow.
it.
That's crazy.
Hey, it's only crazy because we're on the women's tour. Yesterday, I was listening to Rory, and it's
That's
his
so true.
19th season.
Yeah.
So, like,
Well, it's also
it's-
crazy because you're so young. In my mind, I'm like, you're young, and you've already been out there for 15 years. Like that's crazy. That's the part that's like, wow, you go, girl.
Yeah. But you're
I
right.
do
The women's
agree.
careers
The
aren't as
women's-
long, so that is wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like it'd be
Right.
normal on the men's tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like a normal career length, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, you're still killing it, and we can't wait to watch you this year, obviously. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for joining sick. We had no idea. We would have let you at least rest another day if we knew that was the case, but thank you for hopping on here with us, Jenny.
That was really fun and an honor.
You can come back.
Yeah,
Come back and see us.
Yeah. Yeah.
anytime.
Maybe after a good tournament, I'll come back.
Sounds good. We do
Let's
have this
do
thing
it.
called the podcast bump. So just saying, if you listen to this, you'll find out what it is, but we got you.
So,
Got it.
so keep your eyes on Jenny, all right, everybody?
Yeah, everyone keep their eyes on Jenny. Have a great year. Can't wait to see you. I'll see you at Chevron.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you.
Bye.